Good evening and welcome to Bulls in Red. I'm afraid we need to talk about what happened on Saturday and we need to talk about what's going to happen on Wednesday. Welcome to Bulls in Red. And once again, welcome to Bulls in Red, your RB Leipzig podcast, which is at home in Leipzig and made for you wherever you are on this planet. Well, we have to talk about what happened on Saturday, but before we do that, I heard that congratulations is in order.
Congratulations!
And that's to our former... That's right, Emil and the New York Red Bulls were a little bit more successful than RB Leipzig because they won their conference final and they're going to progress to the Major League Soccer final to play for the championship in the US. So well done. They beat Orlando in Orlando 1-0. And I think Emil is going to ask that question again. We can win. Why don't we? So we wish him all the best. Emil, well done, and the team. And hopefully you're going to beat the LA Galaxy. But I'm so sorry. We have to look at last Saturday. Wolfsburg was in town. Hasenhüttl came back. And, well, we weren't so optimistic, but we could never foresee what would unfold on that Saturday. But maybe there was a hint already, because when the team, the starting 11, the lineup was introduced, usually this is a doddle for stadium speaker Tim Turker. You know, he just does this he's been doing this for years and usually never slips up. So, you know, he mentions the number, the first name, and the stadium responds with the second name. But in the case of number 23, he kind of bottled it up. We were quite confused. You know, here was Lukeba, that's the second name, but somebody reacted really quickly and really responded by his first name, Castello. Well, Tim did remark, and he did notice that that was a mistake, so he had a second go. Quite funny, but it didn't really work out. In the end, he got the job done, but even the second time, his second attempt, he startled. So, to be honest, we should have known something was up. Something really horrible was about to hit us, and it did. From the start, you know, when you look at the lineup, you think, okay, name-wise, it doesn't look so bad. I mean, especially, you know, with the people we've got in the bag, and didn't we have the best defense in the league? Ha, ha, ha. And if you looked at our midfield, not so bad. And of course, we had two really capable strikers with Openda and Šeško. And I'm sorry to say, but I don't know where they were. But they tried. But, you know, it seems like the head was telling them to do something else. The feet wouldn't want to listen. And that applied to quite a few players of the team. Nusa was quite good, I thought. But he's 19. You know, he can't do it on his own. But anyway, so... when the game started and the first goal went in by Wolfsburg, we thought, okay, they've done this quite nicely. They played straightforward football and it was way too easy, but that's just the first goal. But a minute later, they struck again, and that was so unbelievable. Still, I talked to my neighbor who was sitting next to me, and I told him, well, it's the 5th minute, or 5 minutes are gone. That leaves us with 85 minutes to score 4 times. Was I that serious? I don't know. But little did I know that VfB Wolfsburg would take this to heart and actually score 5 goals in total. It was dreadful. And I seem to be reminded to those times when RB Leipzig played VfB Wolfsburg in the DFB Pokal Cup ties. Not the glorious first one when they were actually beat them. I think they were still part of the 4th tier in the Regionalliga. Not that one. Pretty much the one that followed when they played in the 3rd tier and they played Wolfsburg in pretty much the first round, and of course lost because there were 2 divisions. We were 2 divisions apart. But it kind of felt like that again. It kind of felt boys against men. Now, my impression was VfB Wolfsburg did what they had to do. Very efficient passing, cool passing, straightforward football, and they used their chances. Now, RB Leipzig couldn't even create a chance, something meaningful. It was really strange and increasingly frustrating. And there was no urgency in their play either. That's at least that was the impression. It felt like they could pass the ball around and they had plenty of time. They were actually up 5-0 instead of 2-3-0 down. So when the first half came to an end, I think the whole frustration of the crowd just unloaded. And yes, it took a while until everybody calmed down for the halftime break. And I looked at Marco Rose as well during the first half as well. And he was moving around. He was in his coaching box and sometimes a little bit outside, as he does. But he didn't seem to be as animated as usual. And that was a little bit concerning. A little bit like a defeatist or being defeated already in the first half. Kind of clueless what else to do. And the players, well, didn't find any concept either. So when they came back on the pitch, we were kind of hoping that things would improve a little bit, but being 3-0 down, come on, you're realistic. The match is pretty much done. But you never know. I mean, RB Leipzig scored 3 goals and Hoffenheim lost 4-3. Things do happen. However, in the first few minutes, you could tell nothing's going to change. Nothing's really going to change. So the game continued, and at some point, Wolfsburg was up 4-0. But remarkably, and maybe different to other stadiums as well, or other crowds as well, nobody shouted, Rosa raus, Rosa out. Nobody did that. Nobody directed their anger against the club and the management, the sports management of the club. I mean, the home supporters were still supporting them up to the 4th goal, and then they took a break because that was just too much. Although there is a song, which talks about being down 4-0 and that people would still support RB Leipzig. But it took them a while to get back on track and then start re-chanting. Wolfsburg fans, of course, had a full section. Away section was pretty much full. They enjoyed a good support as well. So as the game continued, we had a feeling, all the substitutions that Marco Rose made, it didn't have any impact or much impact on the game. Silva came on the pitch and he was admiring a ball flying past him as if it was a UFO. And you wondered, okay, has he ever played football? I guess everybody's trying and it just doesn't work out and just doesn't happen, and they don't know which switch to hit in order to perform again, and they're very much insecure. And for that regard, I think the crowd was pretty patient as well. There was not a lot of booing, not a lot of whistling going on. Still, they kind of understand. But at the end of the day, it was really the heaviest defeat RB Leipzig got in the first Bundesliga, and the way they lost was really diabolical, really hard to watch, even with a lot of alcohol, which I didn't have. I should have gotten, maybe. The match went on, and the only silver lining we had, apart from some of the players who kind of stood out in terms of finding them, and that was Benny, that was Willi Orban, of course, who scored 1 goal, and it felt as if he had enough. Strikers didn't score, so he had to do it himself, and he did. It was just a little too late. But to be honest, when Sava came on, after such a long time when he was injured, it felt differently. It felt like somebody from the A-team is coming back. I know it sounds horrible. And Sava immediately came back into his own. And at one point, he just did a body check against one of the Wolfsburg players. And it was still not a foul, but it was a big sign, and he was fighting. And that was beautiful to watch. And I also felt that the younger players like Nusa calmed down. They calmed down and improved as they went along and as the game went along. Although it wasn't enough to actually turn things around. It was too late anyway. Nobody expected that at that point. It was a good sign and maybe a silver lining for the future. Wednesday might be too early, but you never know. And of course, Castello Luqueba, the one who was announced by Tim Turke, not correctly at first, he got injured. As so far, we don't know if he's going to be available for Wednesday. I think it's doubtful. And how long he's going to be out for. Well, at least Xaver Schlager has returned. We only have 8 people on the injury list. But it was just, if things go wrong, everything goes wrong. When it rains, it definitely pours. And that's what really happened in that match. Also, I noticed when Wolfsburg scored the 4th goal, Hasenhüttl was really celebrating very vividly. But not too much. But hey, he did everything right. And Wolfsburg did play in a very nice style. They did what they had to do to secure the 3 points, and well done on them. So when the game stopped, well, there was a lot of booing, as you can imagine, but I thought shorter than after the first half. Listen to that. So I guess by that time, people were really used to the fact that we had a heavy defeat. You could also argue that a large part of the crowd had left as well, but still there was a decent amount of people left. And my eyes were on Marco Rose. Marco Rose, of course, was making his way to the referees and also to his players. It didn't look to me as if he was to say goodbye. He wasn't hugging everybody, and you could suspect that he would have to leave. And of course, us clients, us customers, we can read everything into it. And I thought then that at the end there was a nice gesture by the team going around the stadium, not necessarily taking the walk of shame, but acknowledging to the crowd that they appreciate that they were there. And they ended up at the home supporters section behind one of the goals, who were still there in pretty big numbers. And that also included Marco Rose. Marco Rose was sort of in the background, and everybody was clapping, supporters were clapping. I don't know why, but just to show support, I know. The team was clapping, and the supporters were chanting that they expect them to fight. There is this famous German phrase that we sing, "Wir wollen euch kämpfen sehen." Listen to that. And as the team was walking off, one person thought, this is really funny, just yelled Auf Wiedersehen, meaning goodbye. Okay, he can express his opinion. But I thought that was inappropriate, but it wasn't loud enough for Marco Rose to hear that anyway. So you wasted your breath. So the team walked off. We were really deflated. And as I walked home with my neighbors, we got really worked up. I mean, I was kind of calm during the match, trying to support them, but there wasn't so much to do. And at the end, you just feel defeated and deflated. But we got really worked up. My neighbors, Stefan and Sina, there were a couple of players that were about whom we had a rant, so to speak. But we calmed down by the time we went home. But it was just unbelievable. But you know what? We're all going to be back on Wednesday. Because maybe we like to inflict ourselves a bit of pain. I don't know. But hey, we're going to be back. We're going to be watching RB Leipzig playing a very exciting Eintracht Frankfurt team. And, well, whatever be, will be. But on Saturday, we were trying to follow the news as well to see if there are any developments, because people could suspect that Marco Rose had to leave. So nothing happened. And as you might have seen in the news as well, these head of sports, Marcel Schäfer, said, well, Marco Rose is our coach for now, I guess. And the next day was really interesting, surprising to hear that sporting director Ruven Schröder would leave for RB Salzburg. And my first thought was, okay, in Salzburg, Salzburg's more on fire than Leipzig. There are a lot more problems at the moment. So maybe he's going over there to help them, and it's a sort of an emergency. And I also thought, well, maybe Mr. Schäfer didn't get on. You never know. But as I said before, you always read into this and look into this. I suspect that the position of Schröder will not be filled for a while, and Marcel Schäfer will do it himself. But it does mean that Marco Rose is still coach, and at least until Wednesday. And then there was something interesting the next day that I noticed. I was scrolling through Instagram a little bit, and there's a user who took part in the Christmas party that was held at the Leipzig Zoo. There's some nice meeting halls and in grand old architecture. And RB Leipzig has 68 officially or official fan clubs. Each year they do a Christmas party, and they might probably do some other stuff as well. And this user was streaming part of the event. And this user was streaming parts of the event. And one time the team appeared, including Marco Rose. It looked like the whole team was there. Of course, the crowd was very optimistic and clapping and encouraging. And I listened into Marco Rose's speech a little bit, and Marco Rose was not so emotional, I thought. He was very rational, very calm and collective. And he did acknowledge that at the moment, situation is very difficult. A lot of things are moving. The results are not as they should be. And all of them have to work for a turnaround. And the good news is the next possibility, the next option is on Wednesday. The team is ready for that. And they tried to paint a little bit of a more optimistic picture by mentioning that some of the key players are well on track with their recovery. So I think that's a good thing. And of course, he accumulated in Savaschlager having played the first, 12 to 15 minutes during that last match. And I have to say, he looked really good. He could really help the team. If he stays injury-free, that would be awesome. That could help. If it is enough on Wednesday, I don't know. We'll talk about this in a second with Richard. But that filled me a little bit more with hope. But after that Saturday match, I have to say, well, you got to live through these matches as well. And you have to come back. And it was cold, it was freezing, and it was hard to watch. But hey, it's RB Leipzig. We love to watch football, and we will be there in bad times. But actually, we also like the good times. So hopefully they come back soon. Well, and that's my little piece about Saturday. So Richard, let's have a look at what's gonna hit us on Wednesday.
Introducing our next opponent. Their Gegnercheck.
So yes, I'm arrived a little late to the party tonight. Thank you, mate, that you just started our show without me. But I guess no one recognized it that I'm not around. Anyway.
Well, I didn't mention it in the beginning. I just started to talk. But welcome to the podcast, Richard.
Welcome to
the brain.
Oh, well, the brain is not needed in this actual situation our lads are in because, obviously nothing seems to work.
Nope.
If there's any idea or maybe more than one, nothing seems to have the right effect on the team. And so I would like to say, okay, so we're the underdog. So let's start playing underdog football. Just make things tight. Make the back four in the midfield, just tie it together. Don't go for ball possession. Go for the quick game. Recover the ball and then go for it. Play the long ball. There's nothing wrong about playing the long ball and then trying to catch Frankfurt on the wrong foot. And you know what? Sometimes, from time to time, and I think more often than not, freak games occur in the DFB Pokal. Most recently, last season, and it was this year. You surely remember what hefty Saarbrücken did to Bayern Munich, to Eintracht Frankfurt, and finally to Mönchengladbach. All right?
Hello, Eintracht. We're going to be your hefty Saarbrücken.
We're trying to. So, what Saarbrücken did was quite a miracle. We don't need a miracle. We just need a solid performance.
Exactly.
But sometimes, this competition is so strange that strange things happen. And to put it into perspective for our international listeners, the hefty Saarbrücken is a third-tier team in German football. And by the time they beat Bayern Munich 2-1 in November 2023, they had only 3 wins in the first 12 league games. And on the other side, it was Bayern Munich who was, yes, of course, the leader of the Bundesliga table. So, and I think it was second place. Excuse me. First, the leader were Leverkusen. Almost any match week last season, but still a great team, and no one expected anything like that. And if you look a little bit more into past, so to me, be more precise, 3 years, it was October 2021, there was this infamous 5-0 win from Mönchengladbach versus Bayern Munich.
True.
And you know what? I find that one was quite more surprising. So, okay, you think, okay, what could be more surprising than the third tier team beating Bayern Munich in the cup competition? But from Gladbach, no one expected anything in the particular match back in October 2021, because Gladbach also started only with 3 wins back in those days in the first 9 games in that season, whereas Bayern outshot their opponents game after game after game. Just a few.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking about first 14 games Bayern Munich played, they had a 5-0 versus Hertha Berlin. They won 4-1 at Leipzig. 3-0 at Barcelona, 7-0 versus Bochum, 5-0 versus Kiev, 5-1 at Leverkusen, 4-0 at Benfica, and so on and so on. So in the first 14 competitive matches in that season, Bayern won 12, drew once, and their only loss came at home against Frankfurt, and they scored 60 goals. Is it 6?
Jesus.
0 in 14 games. Okay, to be fair, 12 of them came in the first round of the cup competition against Bremer SV, though. But still, 48 games in 13 matches, almost 4 per game. And that was the reason that no one expected anything from Gladbach here. And not a win at all, but neither such a blowout that happened. And, you know, I tried to find something to,
clutching for straws again.
I tried to find something here to clutch for straws, obviously. But, you know, anyway, the Frankfurt lads are so strong. So you remember they had its Sunday away game at Heidenheim. So Heidenheim is obviously not in the right fashion or in that fashion we are used to that to see them last seasons. But anyway, winning 4-0 on the road, it's ginormous.
And it looked easy.
Honest,
it looked so easy. Yeah.
Yes. And to be honest, something inside of me still thinks that they still benefit from this stolen scouting file. You know,
could be.
You know,
big time. Big
it was like
time.
Markus Krösche and the youth coach. That was okay. Markus Krösche was not involved. Okay, not in a way that you could get an idea. But this youth coach who was involved and allegedly stole the scouting file from RB Leipzig. Maybe there was some name on it that's still on their radar now. Anyway, what they achieved and what they did in the recent years is quite remarkable. So Frankfurt, according to Frankfurt. And I'm not that angry about them anymore because I think they find a good fashion to fulfill their lines with talent and making the most out of it. And they're still snickering about this Kolo Muani deal. I'm sure about that.
Yeah.
They just sold him for 90-something million, and now he's player number 15, 16 at PSG. That was
crazy.
Just a genius move, and that opens doors. It opens lots of moving space for the Frankfurt front office. So, and I think they invested it well. And that impresses me. And I'm a little bit jealous, to be honest. So anything that they do, we could do as well. But we just don't do it at the moment. So what could we expect from Wednesday night? So please, lads, take your heart in your hands. Play the easy game. Play the underdog game. Go in every tackle as if it were your last. And then hopefully keep a clean sheet for at least 45, 60 minutes. Get one in. And trying to concede as less as possible. And if we're lucky, we could get away with the 2-1 win at extra time or 5-4 at penalty shootout. And that would be cool. And there could be a spark to move things around.
Yeah.
Would be cool. And you know what? I'm looking forward. Sitting next to you.
Fachsimpeln.
Sector A. Flachsimpeln in the lower tier.
Closer to the pitch.
Yes.
Closer to Marco Rose, you better watch out. No, we hope he turns things around. And just maybe to touch on that subject very quickly again, because the sentiment in the city really is twofold that I can notice. You know, on one hand, we all love the coach. He is from Leipzig. and we had success with him, and he's got a good way of dealing with people. Very, very great. And on the other hand, there are always there's this notion of, okay, can he change things around? With the current resources he got, can he be successful? And we all know if the results don't come in, if the wins don't come in, if they now crash out, it's going to get really tight. Really tight. Maybe if he even hangs on one more match to play at Kiel and that goes wrong, well, then there's no more rope, to be honest. He's run out of that. No more. But I really wish we're going to have a freak game in a positive way, like you mentioned it. I don't care. It doesn't have to be a 5-0. I take a 1-0 after extra time. I take a 5-4 penalty shootout. Eintracht Frankfurt is an exciting team at the moment. They have the momentum. They're exciting to watch, but things can happen really quickly. Things can turn around really quickly. And I'm kind of curious to hear who you're going to have in the starting lineup. Because, Castello Lukeba, I think he's not there. But Xaver Schlager played last week or on Saturday. So, Richard, let's hear it.
Liebe Fußballfans, wir kommen jetzt zu unserer heutigen Mannschaftsaufstellung.
Again, last men standing. Gulaschi, Henrichs Orban, Klostermann, Getreda, Baumgartner, Schlager. He deserves his start. Haidara, Nusa, and of course, Shesko and Openda. I would have said Paulsen here, but he is out, obviously, with an injury. That would have been a night for him, no doubt about it. Mr. DFB Pokal, I'd love to see him on the pitch and striking at least once. And then, you know what, I go in with the win for us, of course, in the penalty shootout. And Mamouche is going to be that guy, that unlucky guy, that misses the decisive penalty for Frankfurt. Mark my words, and then I won't go to bed that night.
At the Mirovic moment? Is that what we're going to see?
Yeah, and they're going to jump again to the ceiling, to the roof.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, that's going to be worth waiting for, I must say. Well, I'm not sure what the scoreline's going to be. I would love to be optimistic, and I'm going to be optimistic. We're going to win 2-0. It's going to be a huge surprise, huge upset, because the underdog, RB Leipzig, is going to play difficult football for the exhilarating team of Eintracht Frankfurt and just going to score twice. That's it. And our defense is going to improve and going to be solid, and Pete's going to be a wall. So there you go. Bang.
You know what's interesting? So
no,
you mentioned it now. You said underdog, and I'm feeling it the same way too. But according to the bookies, we're not.
What?
We're still favorite. So I'm nearly just triggered to put some amount of money on Eintracht, because it feels like free money. It feels like free money. You get 3 for 1 for Eintracht Frankfurt win in regulation. Come on, you're serious? All right, it's not my mind. No, I cannot do that. I can never, ever could have bet against my team. No way.
Exactly. Well, we will see. We're definitely going to be there, and hopefully we don't need a lot of liters, a lot of liquid, a lot of alcohol to get through it. But hey, we're going to be there, good or bad. We just support RB Leipzig, and we keep our fingers crossed. Thank you, Richard. Thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. This has been Bulls on Red, our RB Leipzig podcast in English. We're at home in Leipzig. It's made for you wherever you are. We're available on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and co. If you like our podcast, it would be lovely if you could subscribe. And you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Bluesky. That is wonderful. We'll have another episode at the end of the week. Towards the end of the week, we'll catch up with what happened on Wednesday. And we look ahead to our trip to Kiel. So take care of yourselves. Keep your fingers crossed. And talk to you soon. Danke, Richard. Viel Spaß. Thank you. And let's just conclude by saying, Auf geht's, Leipziger Jungs!